Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. My name's Olivia and this is the Toy Barn Homestead. So welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Olivia, as I mentioned before. I'm 26 years old and originally I'm from England. I moved over to America when I was 22. I did come over for a couple of months when I was 21 and fell in love with the country, fell in love with the place, and decided that I was going to move here. So packed my bags and over I came. I am doing this YouTube channel mainly because I very much enjoy looking back at what I was up to last year, 2 or 3 years ago, and seeing how far I've come from there. So that's kind of one big reason for my YouTube channel. The second reason is because I have a lot of family that are overseas. I don't get to speak to them all that much because I do live out in the middle of nowhere. So we don't have a lot of internet, we don't have good cell service, so it's pretty difficult to keep in contact with my family. So I wanted to do this in order to show them what we are doing and what we're up to. We are starting to talk about, and we are doing some of expanding our little homestead here. So I thought it'd be really cool and something nice for friends and family to see and be able to show them what we are doing here. So without further ado, let me go ahead and show you guys around, and then I'll come back and tell you a little bit more about me. These are all the chickens. So we have Miss Carol, Goldie, which was meant to be our female rooster but is not. We have our ducks. There's Mr. Gravy in the background. We have some mallard ducks. We got a couple. We had a big rainstorm, so it's like everything is drowned out at the moment. And then Mr. Rooster over there up top. We have 2 roosters, and we are looking at getting some more hens in the near future. Got this little lady over here. She is not the most friendliest of chickens. He is the most talkative rooster I have ever had to deal with. So this is who we have at the moment, but like I say, we are planning to add a few more hens into the mix. So that's the chickens. Want another egg? Don't bite my fingers. Oh. So these eggs were actually given to Can you finish the one you ate first? These chickens were actually given dewormers, so they are not edible for us. Whoop! But it was the dewormer that they had was actually pig dewormer, so therefore I'm giving pig some eggs. So this is it at the moment. Doesn't look like much. Really doesn't help that it's all wet and muddy. Oh, they just knocked the house down. But it is going to get 10 times better. It's super windy, so stuff is flying all over the place. So the plan is to get rid of all these woods and build a barn, extend the pen into the barn. So we will see what happens. Tyler has started to clear some woods back there. You can't really tell, but yeah, we'll wait and see. So this is my shed. I guess you could say this is where I spend most of my evenings, and at the moment it is a little bit like a catastrophe, purely because of the fact that I stopped milking about month ago now. So when I drive Daisy up, I just haven't been in here other than to feed every night. So we are gonna tidy up because, as you can see, it's a mess. So there we go. Not perfect, but definitely cleaner, not as much junk. I know it looks like there's just a bunch of junk, but we have an egg. Definitely a lot cleaner than it was. At the moment I don't have a lot of space or room to keep everything, so this is why we're building a barn. So yeah, that's my shed clean. So now I'm going back inside to feed Tyler and everybody else and keep them entertained. So I'm back inside now. As you can see, we have a lot going on at the moment outside. A lot to do, a lot of animals to care for. Something that I've always loved to do. I grew up with horses, and when I was back in England I had like, at one point I think I had like 6 horses or something ridiculous like that. I had a little mini pony and my bigger horses that I rode. So yeah, so I originally had horses, and I had decided when I was 21 that I wanted to do a summer camp over in America. So I thought, why not? My dad's from North Carolina, so I have American citizenship. I hadn't applied for it at the time, so I actually went over to New Hampshire on a visa. Which was super easy to get through Camp America. If anybody's ever interested in that, definitely let me know and I could maybe do a video on Camp America. But it was a super easy program. I think I ended up paying like, I want to say like £1,000. And that got me a visa and all other bits and pieces that I needed in order to be able to come over and work. I was selected by a particular all-girls summer camp, and I spent 3 months there, and I was head of horse riding, and so I was able to teach the girls how to ride, and it was a good time. We had like, I think we had like 1 day off a week, which we were able to kind of like go around and see the town and do little day trips and stuff, and we got paid a small amount, not like enough to be taxed, but like you got paid a little bit so that you had some spending money, and some people save that and then they travel afterwards. I did not, and there is a whole other story about me getting lost in New York as to why I did not travel, but we can get into that another day. So yeah, I went to New Hampshire. I loved it there, and I kind of had decided after being there that I wanted to pack my bags and move over here. I'd made some friends, to which I ended up finding a job in Virginia. So I had found this job. It was a job of my dreams, I guess you could say. I, back at home, was very much into dressage, flat work. I didn't do any jumping. Well, I mean, I tried, but we typically failed. When I say we, I mean me and my horse Zach. He wasn't the biggest fan of jumping, and now I look back at things, I think maybe if I was a little bit more knowledgeable and knew what I was doing a bit more, we might have been a little bit more successful with our jumping. But either way, at the time, my feet were on the ground. We didn't want to go over jumps. I was happy with that. I ended up on the floor so much, it wasn't worth my time. So when I had decided to move here, I had found a job working at a eventing barn. For those of you that don't know what eventing is, it is dressage, show jumping, or what they call stadium over here, and cross country. So way out of my comfort zone, which was fine. I can deal with that. I mean, I'm moving to a different country, so I was out of my comfort zone anyway. So I had applied for this job. I had a Skype interview, and they said, yeah, whenever you can get here, get here. So I said, okay, well, I'll be over in June. So packed my bags, 25th of June, and over I came. I landed. I probably spent like a couple of days with a friend of mine that I was staying with, and then he drove me to my work, dropped me off, and then there I was. I had $500 in cash, and that was to get me through a month before I was actually going to get paid. And I lived in a barn. Where I lived was interesting, to say the least. I won't go into too much detail about it, but it was a really awesome experience. It was really good. I was really happy that I was able to get over here and to work. I loved the job. I loved being able to ride every day, different horses, different disciplines. I ended up really gaining a lot of confidence in my jumping, and I loved it. It was great. But then I met Tyler. And I met Tyler probably 4 months into me moving over here. He lived up the road, and we had connected, and we kind of started seeing each other, and it was all happy days. And then about a year into us dating, Tyler had asked me to move in with him. At the time, he didn't have his own place, so he was actually buying his own place. So this was all like, okay, why not? Let's get into more adventures and more things that I've never experienced before. So he asked me to move in with him. The catch was the house that he wanted to buy was about an hour and a half away from where I was working, where he lived, because it was a lot cheaper where we're at. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just have to drive an hour and a half. Not a huge deal for American people. Like, Tyler drives like 4 hours to work every day. So it's not a huge deal. So I had moved in with Tyler. I started driving an hour and a half every day to work, an hour and a half home. I wasn't getting home until about 9-10 o'clock at night. I wasn't getting to work. I was always late to work because of the traffic, and it was just not working out well. Also, I was working like 6.5 days. Like, I technically had 2 days off, but one day was like half of it I had to go and teach, and that was a Saturday, so it was just like, it wasn't cool, and I wasn't really getting paid a lot, and it kind of came down to, it was either my relationship or my job. And I loved my job, but I wasn't getting like fulfillment, I guess, and maybe financially, but it just wasn't a great place for me. I love hard work. I am always up for doing something, but it was just kind of draining me. So Tyler had said to me, I don't get to see you. You don't make a lot of money. I don't know what to do here. And before like we could really even get into that, I said, okay, I'm gonna quit and I'm gonna find a job here. I was jobless for 2 months, and it was horrendous. I didn't know what to do with myself. I wasn't a domesticated woman. I was just beside myself all the time. I probably put like 10 pounds on in a week. I was like rolling around the house. It just wasn't okay. I had applied for a job at a veterinary clinic, which never been into veterinary medicine, and I got the job. And it was only part-time, so I was only working Monday and Friday, so I was still twiddling my thumbs Tuesday to Thursday. And that's when I had started looking into homesteading. So for those of you that don't know what homesteading is, it's basically, like in short, living off the land, doing what you can to provide for your family with the land that you have. It's like the ultimate American dream. We had decided, or I had talked to Tyler about, it's not like something that you just like start and go into, but I had like shown some interest in it. I had shown some interest in growing vegetables and canning things in the fall. And then we started getting some livestock. I say livestock, our first livestock was pig. Pig is my 3-year-old potbelly pig. I got him when he was 6 months old. I found him on Craigslist. I paid $60 for him. And he is and was the best creature I have ever owned. It's not something I ever expected to buy. Tyler had gone away for a week to work, and I was so bored on my own. I had texted him and I said to him, could we get a cat? And at the time I was on my own, so he was, I guess, feeling bad and was like, yeah, sure. So I was like, oh, well, that was easy. And I was like, what about a pig? And he said, if you want a pig, get a pig. So that's what I did. I got a pig. And pig was the best $60 investment I ever made. I picked him up and brought him home, and he lived in the house for probably like another 6 months, until he was a fully grown pig. He lived inside for a long time. And the problem that we had when he got bigger was that pigs are so intelligent and they have really strong noses. Like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but their noses are really strong. And I had his food, his pig food, in a big bucket that had like these industrial lids on them. And somehow he was managing with his nose to unhook the lids, tip the bucket over, and eat like 50 pounds of pig food in like a matter of 10 minutes. At which point I was like, this pig is go. And he was eating potatoes. He was like pulling them out of like the cupboards, and anything he could eat, he was eating. Now that's just a pig's nature, and I knew that, but I thought like maybe he'd be a little bit controlled about it, but he just wasn't. He was just like eating everything. So we had decided, okay, well, we're going to let him go outside for a bit. So I would let him go outside with the dogs. He basically acted like a dog. He sat on the couch and cuddled with everybody. He slept in the bed. He was a literal dog. But eventually we decided he was going outside. So outside Pig went. He had a little house outside, filled it with straw. He loves it outside. He gets to walk around. There's food everywhere because he just eats all the grass. So yeah, he loved it out there, and that's where he stayed and he lived. Sometimes he would come inside when Tyler wasn't home. If anybody shows Tyler this, that never happened. Yeah, so we let him outside, and he loves it out there. So I would say maybe a year after we got Pig, there was definitely like a few cats that came in at some point. I've got like 7 cats now, for rodent purposes. But so we had gotten some kitties within that, and then the end of last year, so 2019, we had started talking about goats. I had actually gone to Tyler's mom's house for Thanksgiving, and I'd met his aunt, and she had brought me this goat's milk soap. And I was like, oh my god, this stuff smells delicious. It's like so good for your skin, and started doing more research into goat's milk. Figured I'd already started making soap somewhere like fall time in 2019. So I already knew how to make soap, and then I was like, oh, you can put goat's milk in it? Like, that's awesome. And then I was like, let's get some goats. We had decided that we were going to get these goats, and January 2020 came. Tyler had built a pen for Pig because he was going to the neighbor's house and he was itching his butt on her bird feeder, and then like free food was falling from the sky, and it was like the most amazing thing ever to him. So we had to build a pen for him because he was just escaping all the time. He'd been really good for like a year and a half, but then he just all of a sudden decided he wanted to go over there. I think she was feeding him like apples and stuff, because she always asks me, where's the oink oink? But he had to stop, so he's now in the pen. And Tyler had built the pen. His friend had come around, and the two of them were putting the fence up and stuff, and they built the pen. It's a pretty decent sized pen for a pig. And Tyler literally had finished putting the pen up and said to me, well, now that the pen's up, I guess you could look into getting some goats. Day 1, the pen was up. Day 2, there was 2 goats in the pen. It doesn't take me long. Once he says I can do something, I do it. I had found these 2 goats. I'd actually found 1 goat. I had found Ranger, and the girl that I had spoke to, I was going to meet her. She had said, I had asked her, does she have any does that she's interested in selling that aren't related to this buck? She said she did, and that we could talk about it when I got there. So I got to her place, and I seen Ranger. He was cute as could be. I absolutely love him. He's such a sweetheart. He's really friendly, really good with kids. He's just great. I asked her which doe did she have that she was interested in getting rid of, and she had said that she had pointed to Daisy, which I think her name was Summer, I think is what she said. I'm not sure. But she had pointed out Daisy and then showed me one of her babies that had come from a different buck. I was like, yep, I'll take them, not a problem. $250. She said she would bring them to me, which was cool. Saved me having to go back out to her, so she brought them. I had come home and I had said to Tyler, okay, we need to get hay, we need to get straw, we need to build a shelter, and we need to do it now because we have goats coming in a couple hours. And he was like, phew. It was about a month into them being here that Daisy came into heat, and then they both made a baby, and 5 months later then we had Mr. Buster. He did end up selling him just because I got into registered goats more, and that's again something that I can go into at a later date, but I had decided that I was not going to keep the first baby. We were actually going to get Ranger castrated, so he could be a friend for the registered buck that I got, Bandit. Bandit is a bit of a wild and free creature. He's not super friendly. I can get a hold of him, and I can trim his feet, and I can clip him in the summertime, and I can do stuff with him. I can bathe him and whatever. He's not happy to have a bath at all. But I can do all these things with him. He just doesn't ever want to be pet, which was kind of sad to me. But it's fine, because then I got Jessie, and Jessie is our Nubian doe, so she's one with the floppy ears. Super cute. I got her at 5 weeks old, so I was bottle feeding her up until she was 12 weeks, and I just fell in love with her. The Nubians are just like, their temperament is just, well, at least Jessie is like the sweetest thing ever. I walk outside in the morning and she's screaming because she wants attention from me. So she's super sweet. I absolutely am in love with her, and we are planning on breeding her and Bandit. She has a little bit longer to go before she can be bred, so hopefully by the end of January I should be able to breed her. And with breeding Bandit, who is a Nigerian dwarf, with Jessie, which is a Nubian, we will make a mini Nubian. Sounds super exciting. I can't wait. So yeah, so that is my goats, a little bit of my backstory of how I'm here, introduction to the family, and yeah, so I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit all about me talking. I will try and include some like fun stuff of me outside and what our plans are, but we are planning on expanding on our house, and I hope to keep you guys informed on that and show you how things are going. So if you like this video, give it a like and hit the subscribe button, and that way the next time I post a video you guys will be able to see it. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys next time.